What if I told you the biggest enemy of success isn't failure, it's laziness? Think about it. Failure at least means you tried. But laziness, it means you never even gave yourself a chance. And trust me, I know that feeling. I've been there myself. Sitting on the couch, scrolling endlessly, whispering, "I'll start tomorrow." But tomorrow never comes. Here's the truth. Laziness is not just a bad habit, it's a mindset. And in the next few minutes, I'll show you how to break free from it. In fact, within the next 60 seconds, I'll share a secret that helped me destroy laziness. And it might just change your life too. So stay with me, because what you're about to hear could be the difference between staying stuck and finally building unstoppable momentum. Part 1. Understanding laziness, the hidden enemy. First, let's clear something up. Laziness doesn't mean you're weak or useless. It doesn't mean you don't have dreams. Most of the time, laziness is just a mask. And under that mask are two things: fear and overwhelm. I felt both. I remember staring at a huge goal, like starting a big project, and my brain just froze. Instead of taking action, I procrastinated. That wasn't me being lazy. That was me being overwhelmed. Other times, it was fear. What if I fail? What if people laugh at me? What if I'm not good enough? Instead of facing it, I chose the easiest option, doing nothing. So the first truth is this: you're not lazy. You're just caught in a loop. And the good news, loops can be broken. But here's the twist. The way out is not what most people think. Part 2. The psychology of small steps. Psychologists call it the activation energy principle. The hardest part of any task is simply starting. Think of a train at rest. It takes massive energy to move at first, but once it rolls, momentum carries it forward. That's why one of the most powerful tools against laziness is the 2-minute rule. Instead of promising yourself, "I'll work for 3 hours," just say, "I'll do 2 minutes." Write for 2 minutes, read 1 page, walk for 2 minutes. Here's what I noticed in my own life. Once I started, I almost never stopped at just 2 minutes. 2 minutes turned into 20. 20 turned into an hour, and before I knew it, I made real progress. That's how momentum begins. And like James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, says, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And systems, they always start small. This is where things start to get really interesting. Part 3. Identity over motivation. A big mistake people make is waiting for motivation. I used to do this too. I'd say, when I feel motivated, I'll work. But here's the problem. Motivation is like the weather. It changes daily. If you rely on it, laziness will always win. Instead, focus on identity. Ask yourself, who do I want to be? If you want to be a writer, then write, even if it's just 1 sentence. If you want to be fit, then exercise, even if it's only a 5-minute walk. The shift from I want to I am is powerful, because once you see yourself differently, laziness has no space to live. And trust me, once I stopped chasing motivation and started focusing on identity, everything changed. Part 4. The momentum loop. Here's something powerful that most people overlook: momentum feeds itself. Imagine this. You walk for 10 minutes. That gives you energy. With that energy, you eat better. Eating better improves your sleep. Better sleep gives you focus for work. And suddenly, you're in a momentum loop. I felt this cycle myself. One small win creating another. And over time, those wins stacked up into real transformation. That's why tiny habits are not small. They're the beginning of unstoppable momentum. And once you feel it, trust me, you'll never want to go back. Part 5. Breaking the cycle of procrastination. Let me be honest with you. Procrastination used to be my comfort zone. I'd open my laptop to work, and suddenly I needed to clean my desk, or check one more email, or scroll for just 5 minutes. Sound familiar? Here's the truth. Procrastination isn't laziness, it's avoidance. We delay because the task feels uncomfortable, too big, too boring, or too scary. But here's the twist. The discomfort doesn't disappear by avoiding it, it grows. The longer you wait, the heavier the task feels. What changed for me was flipping the script. Instead of asking, how much do I have to do? I asked, what's the smallest thing I can start with? And suddenly, the task wasn't a mountain anymore. It was just one step. Procrastination loses power the moment you begin, even if it's just writing the first line, opening the document, or tying your shoes. Start small, and you'll notice the cycle breaks. Part 6, the role of rewards. Now, let's talk about something powerful, rewards. Here's what I noticed. My brain loves instant gratification. That's why Netflix feels easier than writing. That's why scrolling feels better than studying. So instead of fighting my brain, I hacked it. I started pairing hard work with small rewards. Write for 30 minutes. I earn 5 minutes of scrolling. Finish editing a video. I got my favorite snack. This trick is called temptation bundling, and trust me, it works like magic. Because laziness thrives when the reward feels far away. But if you bring the reward closer, your brain starts craving the work too. And over time, the work itself starts becoming the reward. Part 7, real-life success stories. Let me give you a real example. There's a famous story about Jerry Seinfeld, one of the greatest comedians alive. Do you know his secret to success? It wasn't writing the best jokes every day. It was writing something every day. He used a calendar and marked a big red X every time he wrote. Day after day, those X's connected into a chain. His only rule? Don't break the chain. Simple, right? But that tiny habit created decades of success, and it's the same for us. Success doesn't come from one giant leap. It comes from consistent, tiny steps that build momentum. I've seen this in my own life too. When I started editing videos, I wasn't great, but I promised myself one video every day, no matter how small, and looking back, that one habit changed everything. So if it worked for Seinfeld, if it worked for me, it can work for you too. Part 8, discipline versus motivation. Here's a lesson that stung me, but it changed my life. Motivation is overrated. We wait for motivation like it's some kind of magic spark. When I feel inspired, I'll work. But guess what? Most days that spark never comes. I used to tell myself, I'll do it tomorrow when I'm motivated. And tomorrow I kept running away. Then I realized discipline beats motivation. Always. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't need motivation to do it. You just do it because it's part of who you are. That's what discipline is. Doing the thing even when you don't feel like it. And here's the twist. The funny thing is, once you start with discipline, motivation actually follows. You don't wait for it anymore. You create it. So don't chase motivation. Build discipline. That's how you kill laziness for good. Final words, the momentum you build today. So here's where we end and where you begin. Laziness feels powerful, but it's an illusion. Once you take that first small step, the illusion shatters. I felt it in my own life, going from endless procrastination to finally building momentum. And you can feel it too. Don't wait for tomorrow. Don't wait for motivation. Start today. Start small. Start now. Because every great journey, every book, every business, every transformation begins the same way, with one tiny step. And who knows, the step you take today might just be the moment that changes your life forever. So if this message hit home, don't let it fade. Take action right now. Like this video, leave a comment and subscribe, not just for me, but as your first step toward building the momentum you deserve. This is your life. This is your chance. And the choice? It starts with you.